Yo, what is going on? Good morning, good afternoon, good night to everybody. Everybody except Dak Prescott. Everybody except Austin Eckler. Everybody except Brian McManus. Everybody except... Who else am I missing? Sheahan, help me out here.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry. Who else? Everybody except... Who else?
Nico Collins.
Nico Collins. Everybody except...
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, especially... Everybody except...
Just generally. I'm running out of players that shit the bed for me this week.
I know there was a lot of... I know there was
DeAndre Hopkins.
Yep, he's up there too. Everybody, George Pickens, they all just taking the fattest dumps.
Joe Flacid.
Joe Flacid, everybody.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill didn't even fucking play.
That's another form of it. But you know what? He's the reason he got there. So you know what? You can't be upset at that.
That's true.
So of course, you know, a lot of disappointments happen. What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Nader, alongside the #1 Australian analyst, Sheahan. How you doing over there?
I'm right, mate. First week of the playoffs done. Well, second week for one of them. Because we never adjusted when the NFL added in the extra game. We've just kept the playoffs where they are.
Correct.
Advanced in 2, lost in 3. A real bad beat in one of them. Real bad beat. I, as we've talked about, had a kid recently. And
embarrassing.
I don't know. You just lose track of time. You don't know where time goes. I remember sitting on a bench and I was checking my lineups. We'd gone for a bit of a walk. I was having a coffee. Checked my lineups. Got home and then just didn't think anything of it. Turned out that I'd only checked some of my lineups. Hadn't done the whole thing. And I started Nico Collins in a league, a man who was not playing. Now, if memory serves correctly, Sleeper usually say, hey, you're starting a player who isn't playing. That's fine. Maybe he got injured during the game. I'm pretty sure he didn't play at all. But big fat zero. No, he was out. Big fat zero in my team. And, you know, I wouldn't have started Collins anyway because I wasn't, without CJ Stroud, I wasn't that confident. I was gonna pop him to the bench. And I would have started maybe Clyde Edwards-Helaire when I saw that Pacheco wasn't playing. And so I missed out on those 20 points. I lost my matchup by 2.5 points.
F in the chat, boys.
A guy who is an absolute dickhead. I don't think he listens to the show, to be honest. I don't care if you listen to the show because you're a fucking dickhead. And I don't even mean like, he's a dickhead in a fun sort of... No, I just don't like the guy. Genuinely do not like the guy.
You know what? That's the worst type of defeat. That's the worst.
Yeah.
Where you concede it to a person that you don't like. That's the worst. There's nothing worse than that. So go ahead, and then I'll close.
I'm not going to go into this like whose team's better. My team is better, but you know you shouldn't be able to look at it and go, well, he performed, he didn't put blah blah blah. Baker Mayfield 36 points on his team. Dak Prescott 5 points on my team.
Pretty good.
No, fuck the guy.
Speaking of Dak, I apologize to you specifically, Sheahan, because last episode that may or may not have gotten actually released, I asked you a question of should I start Dak Prescott or Jared Goff, and you said Jared Goff, right?
Yes.
I still didn't listen because I didn't have the balls. He was the MVP candidate. He was playing really hot. I just went for Dak. I felt like, you know what, that might be a high scoring game. It was a high scoring game, just for one team. And Jared Goff decided to put up, I think, 39 or something like that. So, you know, I got stuck in this league. Sacks count as minus a point, so he ended up with 3 points. And Jared Goff put up, I think, like 39 or something like that. And I still ended up winning, but I thought about that a lot and how I didn't listen. And I should have listened.
I mean, that's fine. You're welcome to, you're welcome to not listen. I would add to that. You told me to start Jalen Hurts over Matthew Stafford. I didn't really make a difference because I still lost by a whole lot of points. But I didn't listen to you there, and you were right there. So
yeah, it's okay. It's okay. So we were discussing on previous episodes, and I always think back to it because I think it's just such a relevant topic of starts and sits and the thought process that goes behind it. Because in the same league that I did not start Jared Goff, I left not only DeAndre Swift in, but Austin Eckler in. Those are my two RBs, and I left Ty Chandler on the bench. And
Yep.
every thought process of mine said, you know what, you should take out Austin Eckler and put in Ty Chandler because it's just not looking good for Austin Eckler right now. You could leave DeAndre Swift in. I feel like he has higher. I shouldn't even say that with the way he's been playing, but I feel like the team should understand by now. If he gets the ball a lot, they win. If he doesn't, they lose. But I couldn't get the balls to put Austin Eckler on my bench specifically, and for the only reason of if he went off on my bench, I would feel really stupid. But I knew he wasn't going to do good. There was no catalyst for him to put up a bunch of fantasy points other than a lot of checkdowns, which is entirely possible, and they were there for the most part. They tried getting him the ball, they tried getting him some screens. One went for a pick six, but they tried getting him the ball. He took some rushes. He didn't have that much, and I think he only had a snap count of 31%. But when he was on the field, usually he was the emphasis of getting the ball. But still, he is almost a non-factor right now on that offense. They go against Buffalo this week, and it's so hard to sit here and tell you should put Austin Eckler on your bench. But if you have an equal or better player, I feel like you have to make the difficult decision at this point.
I'm going to disagree with you that starting Austin Eckler was the bad decision, because if you review it process-wise, you say, well, Eckler's looked slow, but what does he do? He catches passes. Backup quarterback in against a pretty good defense, so every chance they were going to try and run it through him, that he was going to get lots of dump-offs because Max Crosby was going to be in Easton Stick's face all night. I think you can give yourself a pass for starting Eckler. I think you start first week of the playoffs, you start your studs. If you want to learn from that going forward, absolutely, I think that's fine. Like if you want to play the matchups, I think the process is right there. If you want to cut bait with him, that's absolutely fine. But I think you got to choose how you want to win. And I think even with Eckler was the right call last week as well, because it was a Thursday night game. So you have, as we talked about last week, you then have the rest of the week to make up any issues you have. And obviously Chandler balled out, but I think you can cut yourself some slack for starting Austin Eckler. Do you think you're going to start him this week?
Against Buffalo also looks like a difficult matchup, but I mean, we don't even know if Ty Chandler is going to be the bell cow again. I don't know what's going on with Alexander Mattison. We don't really have word of him yet. If Ty Chandler is going to be the lead back once again, even though it is against Detroit, I think I got to make the call. I think I got to do it.
I don't think that Detroit matchup's all right. I think.
It's not the best matchup. I think Detroit gives up the 30th least amount of fantasy points to RBs.
Only because teams can just pass on them all day.
Yeah, for the most part. That team is built to run the ball. Ty Chandler is a better running back than Alexander Mattison. There is, in my opinion, no question, off of the sample size that we have seen, even though it wasn't much of a sample size, Alexander Madison's not it at the RB position. If he was, they wouldn't have drafted Ty Chandler. I feel like that's the cop-out kind of type of excuse right there. And next year, I definitely feel like Ty Chandler is going to be the RB to own in that backfield. But going forward, right now, I feel like it's too difficult to trust if Alexander Mattison is available.
Yes. All season, Vikings fans have been calling out for Ty Chandler. But, we've now seen it. It remains to be seen whether Kevin Stefanski is pig-headed enough to roll him out again or not.
I mean, he's changing quarterbacks like it's going out of style. Change the RB.
Yeah, just get weird with it. Get weird with it. Don't worry about it. We did not the top 10 last week. That episode didn't come out.
Ouch.
But if you recall, I'm going to take a victory lap here where I said I'm going to take Jordan Addison from about the 25th or 27th or whatever it was and put him in my top 10.
Okay. Yeah, and I think he did put him
number one player on the week.
Yeah, he did. He balled out on my bench in multiple leagues.
He was my Saturday swing for the fences pick. Get the high ceiling in early, and if he flops, you can make it up later in the week.
That's difficult. That's tough. I mean, yeah. I mean, it definitely worked out that way.
It did.
So,
did.
but to cycle back to close off the point that we just made earlier, the Nero RB is and always better. I do want to preface that. I think we're
Mm-hmm.
seeing that right now with Kenneth Walker and um,
Zach
Charbonnet.
Charbonnet.
Yeah, right now
Yep.
Kenneth Walker is by far the better RB in that system. That doesn't mean Charbonnet doesn't have a role of just being a little ground and pound back, take it up the middle, pick up 4 or 5 yards. But Kenneth Walker is the best RB on that team. I think it's very clear, very clear. The way he breaks tackles, takes it to the outside, bounces it out. Definitely McCaffrey like the way he kind of can turn something into nothing. And against the Eagles, it was very fun to watch. Very entertaining game.
I think I've talked about this before, but when I sit down and watch college football, which is very rare these days, I have a little notebook of players that pop. And the aforementioned Jordan Addison was one of those. Kenneth Walker was another one. I watched some of wherever it was playing, Middle Tennessee State, something like that. And I was like, fucking hell, this guy's got some moves. Like, he's one to watch. And, he's popped from that point. He's in the best possible offense for him. He's a very good player. I like him.
Yes, he is a good player. Just has to stay healthy, but he is a good player. So, we're just going to kind of shoot it for a little bit, but I do kind of want to talk about high-end players that are doing poorly right now. And I don't want to take jabs at Travis Kelce, right? Because he is struggling. It's clear he is struggling. He had some bad matchups, but he is struggling.
Needs to shake it off. Get it? Like every joke everyone makes.
Nice. And
how was his fucking flop on the weekend? You absolute dog, Travis Kelce.
I respect it. He wasn't going to get it. Wasn't going to get the... Might as well try it. What's the worst that could happen? You don't get it? I want to kind of refrain from people like him because it doesn't matter if he's struggling. You're still going to start him, right? You don't have a better option at tight end than Travis Kelce. Maybe if you happen to pick up Trey McBride or Cole Kmet or something like that, you have a potential better option at tight end. But no, you don't. So I kind of want to refrain from talking about him other than the fact that I want to laugh at you for drafting him in the first round overall. Even in the second round, I want to laugh at you for that. I want to talk about players like Stephon Diggs. The fact that he is the only option, and it's not like there's another wide receiver going off on that team. Your number 2, Gabriel Davis, I think he dropped 2 donuts in a row.
They balled out on the weekend, and what's his face? Josh Allen completed 9 passes. There's no value there.
I don't understand. It's not like it's a 1 week thing. Stephon Diggs, for the past handful of weeks, has been 4.5. Kansas City, 4.5. Dallas last week, 6.8, half point PPR. Philly, it wasn't a good outing. He just happened to get a touchdown. The Jets, 3.7. And then the Denver, 4.9. It's the last 5 games, he's eclipsed 10 points once. That's embarrassing. Yeah. It's not good. Not good. He has good matchups. He has good matchups. Next week against the Chargers, but guess what? Final week, championship week against New England. Not good.
That New England secondary is all right.
It is all right.
The rest of the team's been shit.
It's always good. Belichick always has a good secondary. It's death taxes and a good secondary, just like how it's for the Steelers, death taxes and drafting a diva Hall of Fame wide receiver, death taxes, and the Niners or the Ravens drafting a Hall of Fame middle linebacker, death taxes, Kyle Shanahan and a running back, death taxes, and somehow the Seahawks have a good quarterback, or the Packers somehow draft a Hall of Fame quarterback. Something like that. and then it's Belichick having an elite secondary.
Let's have a look at Diggs here, because I think he stayed a year too long in Buffalo. I think there was tension there last year, and he stayed a year too long. The past 5 weeks, the past 5 games, wide receiver 57, wide receiver 57, wide receiver 13, wide receiver 56, wide receiver 46. They're in half point PPR, they're all around the 5 point mark. They're busts. Every other game he's had this season has been over 10. And he's had, in a couple of those, he's had 11 targets, 8 targets. Something just feels off. Something feels off with Buffalo, but if there was going to be a year where they make a run, I like their chances of them making a run in a weird year rather than a year where there's pressure on them and they're sort of showboating about telling everyone how good they are, having not achieved anything.
Sounds like a typical Bucks thing. Is there a world where you don't start Stephon Diggs, or does he still have that label of I am must start?
I'm loath to say it depends. I think if you're prepared to cop the bad, like if you are, what's his ceiling been this year? 33 points. That's big. 3 touchdowns versus Miami too. I think you have to start him just because that offense, that player, that quarterback has a chance to blow up. Like, he's a true difference maker when he goes off. And I think you need to me, he's kind of the same as DK Metcalf. Like, you start him and you cop the 4-point week because he might give you a 30-point week. And it's the 30-point week you need in the playoffs. I think this is the you have to be prepared to lose to win sort of situation that we've talked about before. I think you probably should start Diggs. Unless there's a world where you have a bunch of other receivers. I'm trying to think of who you could seemingly might have. Let's say you picked up, you're trying to squeeze like Diggs, Puka Nacua,
AJ Brown.
Let's say AJ Brown. Don't know if you can have AJ Brown and Diggs. Jordan Addison, Amari Cooper into the same team. Then maybe you think about it. But I think you got to start him.
Yeah. Yeah, like the emotional part of me wants to say, hey, you know what? Maybe you should look somewhere else. But he does have a really good matchup this week. He goes against the Chargers, who just gave up 70 goddamn points. Maybe half of it wasn't their fault, but they gave up a lot of points to a Raiders team, which is a little odd. But I'm going to say it again. You know, it's really disappointing to see the stud players not being studs. And that's happening this year, where it's really odd. They either just kind of not being study studs, like Stephon Diggs right now when you need it the most, or they're getting hurt at the worst time possible, like Jamar Chase. Can't remember all their names. Tyreek Hill,
Justin
Jefferson right now. Yeah, it's an odd year in that matter. We always say it's always an odd year, but this year. It's an odder year. Is that
I think we were in very early on this being a weird fantasy year, because even during draft season, we were struggling to peg some of the things that were going on. There just didn't seem to be a lot of value. It was hard to draft a team that you liked. And I think that's been borne out the fact that you've had, 58 different starting quarterbacks this year in the NFL.
Yeah, it's way too much. But as per usual, the show must go on. You're going to have to find those people where you're not comfortable starting. But guess what? It is that time of the season of clutch or kick. So right now I'm kind of looking at the available players from one of my pretty competitive leagues. And I'm looking at wide receivers right now. Let me filter it down. And I'm just going to kind of list a couple wide receivers. You're going to tell me whether you are comfortable putting them in your starting lineup or not. Romeo Doubs.
I started him this week due to lack of better options.
Because a lot of those people are going to have lack of better options. I mean, if you're rocking Justin Jefferson's, he should be good now. He's going to be must start.
I'm okay with Dubs. I know he's sort of slipped to about the third option on his team, but I started him because you never know if he's going to have 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. It's just going to be his day. Mm-hmm. Like Jaden Reed, I have him as well in a different league. I'm not confident starting him, but I thought Dubs was an okay pick. In lieu of anything better.
Curtis Samuel just had a 2-touchdown game. Would you do it?
Nope, don't want to borrow him. Don't want to borrow that offense at all.
Josh.
I know Scary Terry.
Yep.
He's the only one.
Josh Downs. No, there's no way. No way. No.
If Michael Pittman misses.
Oh, that's right.
I'm probably more interested in Alec Pierce. But really, probably no one in that offense. None of the receivers. Like, give me if Taylor doesn't play and Zach Moss doesn't play, how comfortable are you with starting Trey Sermon?
God, not really. Not really. But hey, guess what? If you had Zach Moss and you were starting him, you don't have too much better. So you better put that waiver claim for Trey Sermon.
I've done it. Lost Keaton Mitchell this week as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. There were some big RB injuries. You just mentioned two of them. He's going in your starting lineup. It's so weird to say. So weird. Trey Sermon, out of all people, who got cut at like 4 different teams in the past 2 years, might be in your championship run.
Every year there's a weird guy.
Trey Sermon, out of all. God.
Every year there's a weird guy. I fucking started Drew Lock this week and won.
Oh, that didn't work out too bad, did it?
No, I took a view that I would start either Geno Smith or Drew Lock on Monday night. Stack with Metcalf. So, and end at home to be Lock. But I didn't feel great about it.
No, 20, yeah.
Give me some more of these names.
12 and a half. Okay. All right. Sorry. 1 second. Raheed Shaheed.
That's another offense I don't really want anything to do with other than Kamara.
Yeah. I mean, Chris Olave should be back this week. I think he deserves a little must-start tag. Tyler Boyd. Jamar Chase should not be playing.
I would give him a miss. Start Higgins.
Start Higgins, no Boyd?
Yeah. Not Boyd.
Not Boyd. I mean, other than that one big catch in the over, I mean, it took overtime for him to get that huge catch. He was a one catch for like 15 yards type of player. He had all the reasons. But how about T. Higgins all of a sudden? Did you see that catch?
That was incredible. That is one of the best touchdowns I have seen.
That is close to OBJ's catch. Okay, man. See, the catch was cool, right? He mossed the dude for a catch, but then the coming down with it, reaching out into the touchdown, that was pretty dope.
Yep. No, I'm with you. 100%. Incredible play, incredible presence of mind.
Yeah, and they won the game. And it kept the playoff hopes trucking. With the OBJ, yeah, it was an amazing, phenomenal catch, but they still lost that game, and then they did nothing with it. All right, Josh Reynolds.
You know, we're a pro Josh Reynolds podcast.
You're a pro Josh Reynolds. I think he's cool, but I wouldn't do it.
No, I'm not starting him either.
Tutu Atwell.
No, he's been injured.
Yeah, he's looks like he cleared concussion protocol.
No, not interested in it.
Not interested. All righty. Elijah Moore.
Versus Houston.
Mm-hmm.
Flacco, I know he threw 3 picks, but he was fucking dealing. Like, he threw a hell of a pass downfield to Amari Cooper.
Oh, yeah. It saved me. Oh, God. Amari Cooper's been clutch down the stretch for me right now.
I'm going to say no.
No, which upsets me, but no.
I just don't think with Amari Cooper and David Njoku there, he might get targets, but I don't know if he's going to have the ceiling that you want from him.
Yeah, Noah Brown. I feel like this one's a yes.
If CJ Stroud doesn't play.
Even if he does.
Yes. No, sorry. Assuming if CJ Stroud plays, then yes. If CJ Stroud doesn't play and Nico Collins doesn't play, then yes.
As long as Nico Collins is not playing, Noah Brown's that dude.
How'd Brown go this week? Let me check.
Go for it. I was just looking at it a second ago, and it was really good. But right now I'm looking at Nico Collins.
Wide receiver 15.
Yeah.
8 for 82 and a touch. He's put donuts up the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't think he played.
So he's gone wide receiver 2, wide receiver 7. Didn't play, donuts. Wide receiver 15.
Yeah. He is specifically, I mean, it's no coincidence that he goes off as soon as Nico Collins isn't playing. When Nico Collins is there, he doesn't do anything.
I would say start the wide receiver 1 in Texas.
Yeah.
In Houston.
No Nico Collins, Noah Brown's that dude. He's nearing must start category if Nico Collins is not playing.
Yep.
I think we're going too far down the list. I'll end it with Darius Slayton.
No.
Yeah. Unfortunately, these playoffs and these injuries will make it so you're forced to make uncomfortable decisions and horrible starts. And these are going to be one of them because right now, as I look down the RB list, and checking who is available in one of my leagues right now in the competitive league, and the best RB is Samaje Perine.
Gross.
Gross, yeah. Followed by McLaughlin.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah, Jaleel McLaughlin. He had 2 carries. God, that's maybe next year, buddy. Latavius Murray.
I'm okay with that. I think if you needed to start him, I'm okay with that.
Reminds me of LeGarrette Blount.
Yes, he does.
You know, you're hoping for those goal line carries. If he doesn't, then be hopeful for 2 points. If he does get that touchdown, congratulations, you're at the 8, 9, 10 mark.
James Cook is playing very well at the moment. That worries me.
Yes, he's playing very well. Very well. He's starting to either that offense figured out how to run the ball semi-properly by using him, or he is coming onto his own and he's just being a level up in that offense, because we've seen all the RBs, every RB in that system not succeed and succeed as soon as they leave that system. Zach Moss, I thought he was terrible. He leaves and we're devastated he's injured. Devin Singletary is now the lead back for the Texans. I'm sure there's a plethora of other RBs that I can sit here and talk about, but those are the 2 that stand up on the
Marshawn Lynch.
Well, I mean, yeah, Marshawn Lynch, but that's going too far. Close. I like that. I like where you're going with it.
Yeah, they haven't had a good running back since O.J. Simpson. That's not true. They had
Fred.
Oh
Fred
God,
Taylor.
what's his name in the? They did no. Fred Taylor's on the Jags, wasn't
I think
he? Might play Buffalo as well. Who am I thinking of? Late '80s, early '90s.
Yeah, it's before my time. Sorry.
People will be yelling at their iPods.
No, I lied. I don't think he was even on Fred Taylor. I don't think he was even on the.
Fred Jackson.
Fred Jackson. That was the name, right?
I was thinking of Thurman Thomas.
Oh yes. Now, yep. Mm-hmm.
They had Shady McCoy. He was there.
He was there, but that was past the prime.
Willis McGahee.
Willis McGahee. Yeah, he's up there.
That's him. C.J. Spiller.
I don't think he was there during the prime, but yeah, he's there. He was there.
Frank Gore, 2019.
Let's go, baby. Frank Gore.
I'm looking at a Mike Gillisley. Remember him?
No, I don't.
He was great for about 6 weeks in
Gillisley.
2015, 2016. Maybe a little bit.
I'm trying to figure out how to spell Mike Gillisley. I did.
Gillislee.
Yeah, I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, he was pretty good, and then he went to the Patriots and did nothing.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, but this is a ranking the best Buffalo Bills running backs of all time. I'm liking this. Mike Talbot.
Damn near fullback.
Yep. Travarius Cadet.
Sounds like a military man, but no, I do not remember.
He does. Anyway, that's a bit of fun, isn't it?
That's a nice trip down memory lane.
Yeah, they've Thurman Thomas ranked above O.J. Simpson. I would be inclined to say maybe the juice over Thurman Thomas, but it's not for me to say.
As long as the glove fits.
Got
him.
Got him.
Got him.
All right. Like he did Ron Goldman and Cole Brown Simpson.
All righty. Joshua Kelly.
I've been burned too many times.
Yeah,
I don't. If you're going to start Austin Eckler, start Austin Eckler. If you're going to start Josh Palmer with the rest of that receiving core out, start Josh Palmer. If Keenan Allen's back, start Keenan Allen. Do not start Josh Palmer. If it's not Eckler, if it's not Keenan Allen, don't bother with the Chargers.
Odd, stupid story. So I was salty Keenan Allen wasn't playing. Yeah. And I was pretty salty. I don't know why I was salty, but I was sit there like, okay, well, I just lost. Like, what am I going to do now? Like, I just lost my league. I made the playoffs as like the number 2 seed and number 3 seed. Sorry, so I had to play. So out of frustration, I started Quentin Johnson
this week.
Yeah,
Oh, fuck me.
No, not this
That's
week.
terrible.
Last week.
Last week.
Yeah, and he got that touchdown in the absolute garbage time. Saved my fantasy week. I ended up winning by like 4 points, so I was pretty happy about that. Anyway,
I'll give you that. Then.
I don't know why I was like I don't know what went over me to get so upset that made me I had to like purposely potentially sabotage my league, but that happened. Anyway, Clee Herbert.
I think in theory I'd be comfortable starting him.
In theory, yeah. You know, he went from the beginning of the year getting 9, 7, 7, 18, 10 carries, 16. And then all of a sudden it went to 6, 3, 6. He lost that starting role to Foreman real fast.
Foreman, Roshan Johnson. Actually, you know what? I'm out. I'm not interested in Khalil Herbert.
Yeah, you can't do it. And that's how dreaded the RB list is. There's nothing in RB that we're sitting here debating to ourselves, oh, Latavius Murray might be not bad. You know, it's maybe it's this league specifically with this is an ultra competitive league that I do want to add. So any type of RB to handcuff worth something is gone and been gone a long time ago. Like Damian Pierce is here, and I'm kind of wondering why he's on the.
He'd be interesting if something happened to Singletary.
Yeah, he's at this point. Yeah, he logged 1 rush in week 15. Carried the ball once for 3 yards. God, yeah, that's 4 carries the game before that. Yeah, and you know what? He is a handcuff.
He absolutely is.
He is a handcuff. That is it. Wow, that's welcome to the sophomore slumps. Yeah, so I mean, if Trey Sermon is right now the best RB you can pick up, that's wild.
Yep, that is wild.
88 yards, though. 17 times for 88 yards.
Jarrett McKinnon, if he was available, I think he's available in quite a few leagues. Pick him up.
Yep.
Clyde Edwards, passing TD this week.
Yeah, if Pacheco isn't playing, but I believe he is.
Yep. But Edwards-Helaire has played pretty good ball the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. He has stepped up. I think he realized, you know what, if I can't make it on the Chiefs, there's not very many teams I can make it on.
Basically.
All righty. So that's going to be the list of the wide receivers to RBs. I think we went over a majority of the relevant ones. I know there's going to be some irrelevant ones potentially. I know I've seen some people say, you should start Boston Scott because he always scores a touchdown against the Giants.
That's bad logic.
It's bad logic, but I think historically, like since the last 7 games, he scored a touchdown against the Giants.
It's like playing roulette. You know, it's due to come up black.
Oh, why you got to bring race into this? Where is when did they last play the Giants? It's not showing up. That's a divisional team. They play it twice. I don't see it.
Boss.
Am I an idiot?
Yeah, you are. I don't know if it's specifically related to this.
Well, I mean, I could have told you that.
Anyway, don't start Boston Scott.
Oh, it's because you know why? They play them week 16 and then week 18, and it doesn't go that far. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you know what? I picked the topic for the first segment. I'll let you do the second one.
I've written down a list of questions here.
Okay, I'm interested.
Just general questions.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
What do you hate about fantasy football?
The tight ends. The tight ends and the fact that I hate the rules people implement unless it benefits me. For example, one league, last year we did a super standard league. Super standard. Like 1 point for RBs is 25 yards. 1 point for quarterbacks is like 75. The only ones that counted were basically touchdowns. So if you didn't have a touchdown, but he had a big game, he'd probably just put up 5 fantasy points for you.
Yep.
And I thought it was stupid. I was like, okay, guys, I get it. There's standard, and then there's just like doing too much. Mm-hmm. And I didn't do so well just because I didn't take it very seriously. This year, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna take it a little bit more seriously. And right now I'm in first place and enjoying the bye. But now I like it because it benefits me and I'm doing well in it. How about you?
General discourse, I realize we're part of that. The general fantasy discourse I don't care for.
I don't get it.
It really annoys me when the wish casting that goes on, and then people who over project players to do things, and then they're like, basically, if you have to squint too hard for a play to be relevant or something to happen, then it's not going to happen, by and in large. So if you're saying if and if and if and if when it comes to a certain player, it's probably not going to happen. There's a lot of that goes on in fantasy. Laviska Shenault.
Did you just say his name?
And then these hype trains get out of control.
Yeah, I was going to mention the hype trains, but I think you just nailed it right there.
Fantasy experts who do too many mock drafts in advance and throw out the ADP for players. Because I got to take my sleepers. You're picking your sleepers in like rounds 3 and 4, and you're not being cute or clever. You are just ruining it for everyone else by driving up that price. And that actually, there's another thing if I can add. There is so much content in the fantasy community, and I think we do a pretty good job of not being that. So much content that is just made for other fantasy experts.
That's an interesting take. Because sometimes I do feel like people, they make content not for educational purposes, but so they can kind of stand out to other content creators and be like, hey, look, see what I did and what kind of prediction 100%. I made. Yeah, I definitely feel you on that one. That one I could definitely understand.
That really annoys me because it's not thinking about your market, who the actual people are. I don't know who would listen to this show. I'm sure people absolutely do. But, you know, there's a reason the fantasy football is successful. Yes, it's the daily show, but yeah, it's like fucking the basics of fantasy football for people who don't live the nuts and bolts of football. They can tune in, they can get their information. Yes, you can look and go, well, it's really basic, it's really mid, but for a lot of people, it's not. And you got to remember that the people in most leagues, a person who listens to a fantasy podcast is going to be 75% better than the rest of the people in that league. And I think a lot of people forget that because people sort of get buried in fantasy football. You're playing Dynasty and Best Ball and DFS and all of these things. A lot of leagues, you're just playing against like Steve from accounts.
That part, I definitely agree with you. Once you start getting into Dynasty and stuff like that, Best Ball, you kind of eliminate the casual. It's hard to call yourself a casual and play Dynasty, in my personal opinion, because a lot goes into it, whether it's keeping track of contracts and how long a player has on a team, whether it's looking at college players and the potential, and then, of course, forming your team on your draft needs when the rookie draft comes along. So, yes, I do agree that some podcasts are definitely meant for the beginners or the people who aren't all that in tune with fantasy football. And then, of course, a lot of content creators, they try so hard to stick themselves out there. And it feels like that content isn't even for the people. It's for other content creators. I definitely agree with you on that one.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's it's a scourge.
All right, so this one is probably an off-season topic. But yes. I was going to mention, if you wanted to create a fantasy league, what are the rules? Or the format?
I have something very similar on my list here. Let me answer your question with my question, and then we can talk about it. Is the best fantasy format quarterback, and then every other position is flex?
That'd be a fun league. That's actually a good idea. Quarterback, everything a flex. I would be down to try that. I think that's a good idea. I think that's worth doing it, because then there's no such thing as zero RB, no such thing as heavy RB. There's no such thing as a strategy at that point, because you're just picking the best player available.
I agree. Particularly if it was a true flex, like let's say a true flex, any offensive running back, wide receiver, tight end, kicker.
That's interesting because kickers are dangerous.
Last year when I made my charmed run to the very, very end of the Scott Fish Bowl, I started 3 kickers multiple times.
Kickers are dangerous. And they're consistent because right now, even in quarterbacks' historic MVP years, kickers are always the highest scoring player on the team. Always. So they're always
Always.
consistent fantasy points. I think this year is the only time where a top team doesn't have the highest scoring kicker in the Niners.
Yep. Yeah, they score a lot of touchdowns. They don't get a
yeah.
lot of field goals. I imagine Miami's probably pretty similar.
Exactly. And even when they kick the field goals, half the time the Niners, they miss it. Anyway.
So what do I think? If I was starting to lead from scratch, what would I do?
So I would do so I think a lot of leagues, when they after the end of the year, when they want to, if they are able to make rule changes or they're able to propose rule changes, I highly think everybody should go back to 6 point per touchdown for quarterbacks. Highly think so. I also think that interceptions should be minus 3 points to balance it out, to keep it fair. Because one, quarterbacks are the most important position in football. They should be the most important position in fantasy as well. Personal opinion.
Yep.
I also think sacks should be minus a point. Also to balance out the 6 point per touchdown. That way you don't take a quarterback on a bad team, for example, Sam Howell, and just get those garbage time points where he might do nothing for the first half, and then all of a sudden the second half he gets 2 passing touchdowns when it doesn't matter, and then he has a phenomenal fantasy day because you know what? He took 7 sacks that game, minus 7 points if he had 2 interceptions, yada yada, and then hit back to a mediocre stat line for fantasy. That's the first thing I would do personally.
So my family league, I control all the lineup settings and everything like that. And I would say that's as close to how I would want a league set up. And that's 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, 3 flex. And tight end. And it's super flex as well. I think super flex is a necessity these days to get the value in the quarterback. I think it makes it more interesting. We do 5 point passing touchdowns.
Not bad.
It is minus 5 for a pick 6.
Ooh. I've teeter-tottered over that. Whether you should lose points for pick 6s. Ultimately, I go no, just because sometimes it's not your fault.
You get 0.2 of a pass. 0.2 points for a pass completed. Minus 0.2 for an incomplete pass.
Oh, that's interesting. But, usually quarterbacks are at the 60%. Majority of quarterbacks, or fantasy startable quarterbacks, are 60%. So it's usually technically a net positive.
In terms of other weird rules, 0.1 for a rush attempt. That negates the kneel down at the end of the game.
Interesting.
Because you don't lose the yard for kneeling down, which you absolutely shouldn't do. It's a half point PPR. I don't think there's a bonus for. There is a bonus for tight ends. I could take or leave tight end premium. We don't have defenses anymore. We don't have special teams. So, I think the secret to good fantasy football is you keep it simple. You don't put too many things on the hot dog. Like, if you want to do Superflex, do Superflex. If you want to... It's when you start getting weird with it that
weird rules.
I have an issue with it.
Yeah, weird rules. I'm going to agree with you on that one.
Unlimited players on IR, I would have as well.
I think 3 is a good spot. During the peak COVID, 3 I felt like almost a necessity. 2 in the very minimum. I like 2. 2 is a healthy balance. That way you don't just stack players that on the IR. If they happen to come back, then you kind of sneak your way. 2 is good.
Maybe I've changed my mind. Maybe 3. Maybe 1 would be ideal. So you really have to make a choice.
Yeah, it used to be pre-COVID. It was always 1.
I played most of my leagues have been 2.
Really? Yeah. It only became normal for me to see 2 IR slots after COVID. 1 is definitely a thing because say you had for example Justin Jefferson. You had to put him on your IR, right? You can't drop him. But then I'm trying to think of another player that went on the IR.
Mark Andrews.
But he was come back.
Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas. Let's go peak Michael Thomas.
Yep.
and he goes on the IR. You can't drop him. I mean, this go around when he went on the IR this year, you could have definitely dropped him.
Yep, couldn't did.
Couldn't. Yeah, sorry about that, people. You know, that one would take more thinking because, of course, now you have to use your roster spot for Michael Thomas. And I think a lot of people wouldn't be too upset at that, but it definitely hamper your fantasy team.
If you had to gain 10 yards on 4 downs, what position would you put yourself in at?
The punter.
No, you have to be on the field.
Have to be on the field? Okay.
You have to be on the field. You have to be in a legal formation.
Okay.
So you have to be an offensive position. You can be on the line. You can be on the line if you want. You can be any of the skill positions, but you had to be out there for your team to gain 10 yards. What position would you put yourself in at?
You know, I'm feeling dangerous. Put me at quarterback, baby. I think the easiest cop out would be wide receiver.
When just run a dummy route.
Yeah.
You say that, but then immediately your corner's not going to cover you.
Nah, just run. Tell me to run streaks. You know, that's like the easy way to do it. But just run a streak. Maybe they could not guard that.
The corner is blitzing off the edge.
All right, well,
they are lining up to. I guarantee you the corner would be lining up to jam you, and they are blitzing off the edge and hoping the safety picks you up.
Well, maybe the quarterback makes that throw. After that, it's only 10 yards. Like if he's blitzing, right, and quarterback throws it right away. As long as I catch it, I'm like right there for 10 yards. I could do that. It'll hurt, but I think I could do it.
You think you could catch a pass in the NFL?
Yeah, I think so.
I wonder if quarterback is the answer here. That you just hand it off 4 times.
Because then you can just hand the ball, which is hard. It's not easy. First you got to take a snap. Not easy. Then you got to
you'd have
hand
to
it off.
Hand it off from shotgun almost.
Oh, yep. Because and if you're in shotgun, then you got to catch the snap.
You don't want to be blocking.
Yeah, you don't want to be blocking.
I think the answer probably is receiver.
The easiest one would be receiver and just run streaks.
Maybe the answer is court. I don't know. It's a good question, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's more interesting than that, could you gain a yard behind the best offensive line in the NFL?
Yeah, easy. No question. I'd do it.
Yeah, do you reckon
I'm just leaping forward. Just diving forward. I'm getting to the line, diving forward. I'll get that.
Tush push.
Tush push. Easy. Easy clap.
What do you got?
I don't have too many questions. I kind of used them all on the way to this part.
Fair enough. Let's let me give you a couple more here. What's the best Christmas movie?
Home Alone.
Yeah, that makes sense. That kid's a little dickhead.
Sounds like me.
Yeah. If you could change any rule in the NFL, what would it be?
Okay. Right now I'm drawing a semi-blank. I'm sure if I thought about this, I could probably think of something. Something to change. I changed the coin toss.
To what?
Rochambeau.
Best of 3?
Way cooler. Best of 3 Rochambeau. That'd be way cooler to do.
I reckon best of 3 for overtime. And then there's a strategy to it.
Yeah, all right. Imagine them huddling up and you're kind of going, all right, we're doing rock, paper, scissors. Okay, first you're gonna you can't do that stupid fake stuff where you kind of stutter it and all that stuff. It's going rock, paper, scissors, boom.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the ref's there.
You know what? Yeah, the ref's there, and the false starts and everything on that one.
Secret to winning rock, paper, scissors is you think 2 moves ahead.
It's a lot of thinking.
Because if in a best of 3 or a best of 5, you think 2 moves ahead. So your first one's always a dummy. You go the rock.
Yeah.
If they're both rock, you go rock again.
Okay.
Next time.
Uh-huh.
You go scissors. Because they're gonna go paper, thinking it's rock, so you go scissors.
I don't know. The problem is if I see you, if we're
let's do it right now. Let's do it right now on the air.
if we're mid-locked, right?
Yeah.
And we're both stuck on rock, I'm playing chicken with you. I'm not changing rock.
Good old
Until
rock.
you
Nothing
do.
beats that.
Like I'm sticking with if we tie our rock,
Yeah.
or I'm going rock again. That's it.
All
And
right.
if we tie again, there's no way in hell I'm leaving rock. Like one of us is leaving rock first, and it's not going to be me.
All right, let's do it right now. Best of 3.
All right.
Right,
All right.
now. All right.
All
So it's
right.
what, 1,
Okay.
2, 3, shoot.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, shoot. Right. Hold on. Let me move my hand away from the microphone. Okay, I'll go like this. All right.
Yep.
On you.
Yep.
Hold on. 1,
2.
Come on.
You
Wait,
count
hold
us
on,
in.
hold on.
You count us in. You always count us in.
I'll count it. Oh, okay,
You count us in.
right. 1.
1, 2,
Wait,
3.
hold on. When do we do
There's
the
a
one?
fucking rhythm to
on the
this.
On the up. Or
It's
the,
1.
or
It's
when
when your hand hits your hand.
hand
That's
hits.
the
So
one.
we start hand away from the palm.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's 1.
1, 2.
Two.
Oh, see, I was gonna do it. All right, ready?
1,
2.
2.
See, I don't know, you're stuttering.
I'm
See,
not.
You're
I
cheating
think
right
you-
now. If there's a ref, that's a false start.
I don't think
I
so.
don't, I don't like this. All right,
Play-
ready?
All right. 1.
1, 2. See, you're stuttering. You're cheating. You're cheating right now.
All right, let's do it.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, shoot. See,
You
see,
rocked me.
See, yeah. See, I was gonna go wrong. Like I didn't tell you I wasn't. I said I was going to go wrong. See, mind games.
Yeah, no in scissors. That was good content. Hope everyone enjoyed that.
There's a science to rock paper scissors.
There is. I'm very good at it normally. Who do you wish had a better year this year?
Austin Eckler,
Yeah. Anyone else?
Mark Jefferson, JJ.
Yep.
You know what? Michael Thomas and Elijah Moore, just because I predicted them.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you predict Elijah Moore every year.
I like Elijah Moore.
What 4 teams would you get rid of?
Okay, first we're getting rid of the Patriots. Like easy answer. First Patriots. Second the Cowboys. Third the Steelers. Just because I don't know why. You guys are terrible. You're not fun to watch. Your quarterback is trash. Your O-line's actually pretty good, okay? Wide receivers are pretty good, okay? I got nothing on that. RB is trash. And you guys have so many primetime games. For what? Like, how many Thursday night games have you guys had? You even had a Saturday game. And then all of a sudden it's Sunday night, Monday night. Apparently, the Steelers have one of the largest fan base compared to the Cowboys. I think it's the Cowboys and the Steelers or something like that.
Yep.
Somehow, out of all teams, people sit there and like, you know what? I'm going to root for the Steelers. Anyway, yeah. We're getting rid of the Steelers. I'm tired of seeing you guys on prime time. I'm tired of seeing the Cowboys, just hearing about them at every talk show. I'm tired of the Patriots just because it's the Patriots. And one more. Chiefs is close. I'm not ready to go there. Maybe the Raiders.
Really?
Yeah, it's like, who cares? It's the Raiders.
Interesting. If you weren't a fan of the Niners, who do you think you'd be a fan of?
I said I was a fan of the Niners. I would be probably a Chargers fan. Yeah, I'd probably pick the Chargers. Just because they're close. Or at least they were close.
Not anymore. But same state, at least.
Close enough. Yeah, it actually, you know what? Maybe the Bears.
Yep. Yeah, you do like...
Actually,
You're a Cubs fan, aren't you?
yes, sir. All right. You as well?
Probably the Raiders. Cool uniforms.
Yeah.
Cool history. Their poem's pretty cool.
Their owner has the coolest haircut known to man.
I think starting, if I came in absolutely cold, I think if I came in watching this year, if this was the first year that I'd followed it, you're not picking the Raiders because they're not interesting. This is
They're
the first
boring.
year that I'd followed it. maybe. I don't know who you are. Probably Miami, I would say.
I was gonna say Jacksonville for you, just because they're in London a lot.
There are a lot of Jags fans here, a lot of Jets fans here.
Yikes! It's kind of embarrassing.
I mean, I think if I was getting into it because of my wife's family, I'd be a Jets or a Giants fan. But no, I think possibly Miami for the same reason my mate is. Ace Ventura. Fun to watch.
Fair point.
Hmm.
All right. Any more to wrap it up?
Who's the best Batman?
I don't get it.
Fair enough.
Never watched a Batman movie.
Really?
Never.
What's the best time of day?
The best time of the day is when you wake up in the morning, you look at your alarm, and you have 3 hours till you need to go to work. So you go back to sleep. That's the best moment of the day.
I definitely miss doing that.
Before having kids. For you. Get a wrecked kid.
Yeah. 6 o'clock on a Sunday is pretty good. That Sunday kickoff.
No, I hate Sundays. 6 o'clock on a Sunday because it's hard to enjoy after 4 o'clock on a Sunday. It starts to suck because then you start thinking about the fact that you have work the next day.
Don't worry me.
Then it's just bad. It just is because you sit there. You're like, I can't enjoy my day. I got work tomorrow. It sucks.
Which current NFL player would you vote for president if they were on the traditional opposite side that you would vote for?
I don't get it.
Say you always voted for Party A.
Uh-huh.
Which NFL player would you vote for if they were running for president with Party B?
Oh, Aaron Rodgers.
Interesting. I could see that happening.
Thanks.
I
think that's a pretty good answer, actually.
That
was actually a pretty good one.
Well, he was who you wanted to be mates with.
Yeah. I'd be friends with Aaron Rodgers. I think we'd be good friends.
I could see that. Do you want to do a 2-minute drill?
Let me look up the schedule.
Let me kick it off. I already talked about the Bills, so I'm not going to talk about them now. Christmas Eve. A lot of football on Christmas Eve. I like that. I like that You can sit down on the couch, you can sit down and you can wait for Santa to deliver those presents. He's jingling around the house, he's doing shit with the elves. You can sit down and you can watch Scotty Hansen help him ring in the new year. What'll I be watching? Of course, Red Zone will be on. But what's worth watching in that early window? Vikings-Lions could be a second screener there. Vikings are a weird team. The Lions are fun to watch. There's not a lot in that early window to commend itself as a decent game. Jets, Commanders, bleh. Texans, Browns. The Browns are playing some really fun football at the moment. I would absolutely... That could be a ridiculously fun game. Hopefully pretty high scoring. Hopefully we see CJ Stroud back. But that could be one of the most fun games of the year. Panthers, Packers, bleh. Titans, Seahawks, bleh. Weird that the Seahawks are in the early window. I feel like that happens very, very rarely. Falcons, Colts, bleh. So what I would say is, do your presents, your last minute present wrapping during that early window. Get them under the tree, get them sorted, and you can kick up with your beer, with your eggnog, with your mulled wine later. Get ready to watch that Dolphins Cowboys game in the late window.
Crazy. Miami against Dallas, not a primetime game. You know what is a primetime game?
I do. I've got all the schedule in front of me.
Cincinnati and Pittsburgh. Weird. We just talked about them. Or I just talked about them. Weird how that works. All I'm saying, the amount of times they get it, I don't know. Like, you want to watch Mason Rudolph? Like, that's fun to you? It's like starting at tight end in your flex. That's fun. You get off on that? I don't know. Like, I understand in the beginning of the year when they made the schedule, we didn't expect the Pittsburgh Steelers to have this bad of an offense and this lazily. I want to be a Hall of Fame wide receiver just so I can go on the Steelers and then stop trying, considering every single one of them does that. Alrighty. So they almost got the primetime games right. So Las Vegas always plays Kansas City pretty well for 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter, Las Vegas always kind of dumps itself, and then Kansas City runs away with it. The Philadelphia Eagles, playing absolute dog water football right now, finally has an opponent worth their time, as the Giants, and you know what? I'm going to put the Giants as the favorites. And then two number one seeds. I think they said it on ESPN yesterday. They've never had two number one seeds this late in the year playing each other on Monday Night Football. So this is going to be the first time we're going to see it. We're going to see a Super Bowl preview right here. Just kidding. The Niners aren't going to make it that far. But that's going to be probably the best game of the week. Right now, as I look at you mentioned it in the day earlier, the day games, Sunday games, not looking too interesting. And the problem is it's not going to be interesting specifically because Dallas plays at Miami, and I learned the hard way how, and everybody that started Dak Prescott learned the hard way of how bad he is on the road. All right, that's my 2 minute, Joe.
What do we got now? We've got prognostications. What do you got for me?
Christmas. I'm trying to theme it to Christmas. We will see 2 touchdown celebrations of Santa's reindeer.
Ooh, I like that prediction.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's definitely you're getting in the back and giving it. That feels like a Miami one.
Yeah, like Miami, they seem like they're going to do that. They would do something Christmas themed. I don't know another team that would do it.
I'm going to go along that same vein. I'm going to put a name on one of them. George Kittle comes to the game dressed as Santa.
Ooh, okay. All right.
Yep. I think that's it. I'm going to go with that. George Kittle comes to the game dressed as Santa.
There we go. All righty. Well, that's going to wrap up this episode. Of course, you can find us on X. Sheahan, where could everybody find you?
You can find me. I'm at Sheahan Solo on X and TikTok. You can follow me there. You can check out Screen Pass. We have a pretty cool Christmas episode about a film called Santa's Sleigh, starring Bill Goldberg, the wrestler, as it's kind of like a Christmas slasher film. I would recommend watching it, even if you don't listen to the podcast. The whole thing's fucking nuts. I just want to, safe, happy holidays, all that sort of stuff to you and to everyone out there listening.
Of course. Merry Christmas to all. And please don't follow me on Twitter. I went shit-talking everybody. It was a lot of fun, but...
You say this every week.
I know. I do it a lot lately. Like, I go now on Twitter, and I'm looking for blood. It's fun. I'm sorry. Anyway, all right. That's going to wrap up this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed it. But other than that, hopefully you win your fantasy league. But good luck, everyone.